Well, the thing about that is the reason why installing Adobe Reader fixes most problems is because Adobe Reader comes with a bunch of useless bloatware that just so happens to be dependency packages for a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
It's really funny.
Black Wolf, did you download enough RAM?
yeah. Got to be careful on that one. I once downloaded too much RAM.
Do not make me come at you.
Well, first things first, with you all here, and Fluffy Sheep is with us in spirit, and we'll communicate as best.
I thought Bright was with us in leather.
Well, she's certainly in control, and she's put a bit and bridle here on Kazimir. Whoop.
Yep.
You're an echo.
You're an echo, but hey, we got connection.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Firewire the zip drives to the end. Oh geez, I had zip drives. Anyway, so I want to begin first off with a congratulations to Macabre Derek for reaching affiliate today. And
yes.
Derek, if you all didn't know, well now you do.
Accept subscriptions.
He can, and bits. He streams Vampire the Masquerade on Sundays and Drawing on the Macabre on Mondays. And there was a fun little bonus stream that was going on with some BattleTech. Mech Warrior.
Nope, BattleTech.
BattleTech.
BattleTech, just to clarify, they both set in the same universe. Basically, MechWarrior was the franchise they ended up doing for the first-person situation and all that. BattleTech is what last year, got released. And it is not one-to-one, but it's very close to the tabletop game for BattleTech, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. So right now, I am currently kind of celebrating. I'm also in this huge bit of panic, like, okay, what do I need to update? Okay, how do we tackle this? And trying to find stuff that's just appropriate for Twitch while appropriate for the channel. And I've always been on that blind, so kind of gauge it.
Getting some feedback.
Yep, that's coming from Fluffy.
Fluffy.
I'm causing feedback.
I heard Fluffy for a second.
Yeah.
There was a Fluffy, and then the Fluffy
The
disappeared.
briefest of moments.
But suffice it to say, for a while we were most definitely how did you put it, Matty? There was a you made a clip of it, which was so endearing.
Derek, Metal Man Choo Choo Driver.
Me am Derek. Me am good Metal Man Choo Choo Driver.
I watched that clip and I was like, that tickled me way too hard.
So it is. Congratulations on that, and I look forward to your channel continuing to grow, especially as you make some cool and probably some really gross emotes. I look forward to using them.
I was thinking about this, and I got a debate with this in my head. I can't do anything involving blood, technically. But it doesn't say anything about red underlighting.
Yeah.
The way to get away with it. Making a gutter emote.
Always
One of the ideas.
Either that or just a couch. Anytime you broadcast, it's couch time with Derek. So
yes, a couch. A couch
might
is needed.
actually be it. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, speaking of figuring stuff out here, after this fun announcement of celebratory congratulations, let's slip into the character of Investigator Jacob Stillwaters, and I'm wondering what Jacob, 'cause you've been in a bit of a pinch lately. There's so much stuff going on. You know, this is cats and dogs living together, just pure, insanity and madness. What is going on in in Investigator Stillwaters' mind? What are his observations, his thoughts on current events? And we'll take you back right now to the battlefield, where things had been recently happening, involving some Fae, and Mordecai's a mushroom man, and people are missing brains, etc. And it's on you.
Priestess Lean's advisement to end up here following these Fomorians. Now, these
I think
Fomorians...
the sound dropped. Sorry, guys. There it goes.
The Fomorians seem to, well, encounter what appears to be some form of Fae-like mind control. Well, I wouldn't call it mind control. More accurately to say, they scoop it out with what appears to be a shovel and then replace the brain with a bit of walking fungus the size of a tiny house cat. It was unsettling, to say the least. And the truth of the matter is now I have to look at this evidence, and I end up noticing that they are dressed with religious garb, the same as Priestess Celine, which would imply that Priestess Celine's organization has been infiltrated, and concerns me on how much farther this goes. I may have to end up considering what perhaps the lacks of security in the garrison itself may be it may be the result of, well, mushrooms instead of brains. Don't do drugs, kids. And suffice it to say, I am now concerned on that regard. What makes me more concerned is the fact that I end up seeing the dear Miss Bright currently riding Kazimir, who seems to have received some form of damage. I'm not sure what sort. They seem physically capable, and yet, lights are on, nobody's home. And if that's not bad enough, at this point we are moments away from Mr. Silverleaf having an emotional breakdown as he still seems to be coming to grips with the fact that, well, the person he is associated the most with, the one who he has given his dead heart with, which at least ends up letting me know he can at least feign the concept of love, well, seems to be utterly rejected by Celine, who professes frequently the idea of love, but thus far it's been made very clear that ultimately what Celine views Mordecai as is a form of either experiment or fascination due to her, well, her profession. And in doing so, Mordecai has become conflicted. I would prefer to end up here being able to follow this investigation back to the church once we end up here settling with the Fomorians and investigating that further. As well as I don't wish to end up leaving Mrs. Crumb alone for too much longer, because I don't need her gain the idea that I have let her slip to her own reins, as she's still coming to grips with her own affliction, which mirrors Mordecai's in some ways.
Very good. There's so many fires to put out, and and one of them seems to be a literal one. Well, I wish you well in this endeavor tonight here, Jacob, and let's see where the dusty trail takes us. Let's go now to Kazimir. Kazimir, you are in an interesting situation. Would you like? We're going to presume that you have access to your thinky bits and your thought doodles from Bright here, as Bright, I guess, has dropped a new engine into the chassis of Kazimir, and so Kazimir, with this kind of interesting presence, this I don't know what how are you describing this? What's this feeling? Talk about yourself here.
Sums it up perfectly. Thank you, Kazimir.
Very well.
That's about it.
How eloquently put.
Yes. Unfortunately, Kazimir's pilot is currently under maintenance, and so we'll find out what's going on, perhaps live from the battlefield. Let's skip over then. Now, Fluffy, if you'd like to type anything on behalf of Bright into either chat, you're welcome to do so, and I'll make sure to narrate it and apply it. Let's go over then to. Whoop. Bye. Just like that, he's gone. All right, let's go over to Mordecai. Mordecai, you gotta buy Celine just like a couple minutes to finish eating, and then it's only proper. You've been on the road so long. She's got to put some meat on her bones, huh? Especially the ones that are exposed. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, things are complicated at this point. I have had a conversation with Celine about everything that's been kind of going on between us, and I don't know if Jacob overheard or if anybody else overheard, really. I wasn't really concerned with that. It was more that just airing what needed to be said. And now we're trying to figure out whether or not we need to continue to follow these Fomorians, or if we're going back to town? Question mark? To try and pick up some materials to get Kazimir back up to his normal self. I don't have anything. I don't know anything about fixing that, really. Not at the moment. But yeah, that's what's been going on with me. I've just been kind of following along and just kind of mulling things over in my head. How much of what's been going on is real? That's what's been on my mind. I don't.
There's a lot of that going around, so I hope you don't feel too alone. It's a terrifying and fascinating thing. Well, at least from an outsider like me.
Yeah, it's weird, and I feel alone kind of a lot. But I try to express what it is that I'm feeling in words, even if they don't come to me that quickly. And that's the important part.
Very well. Then we will conclude our summaries and our thoughts here with what is going on in Celine's noggin. Thoughts, feelings, observances. What's happening in Celine's world?
It is so easy to take the high road in a world that you don't understand. On that is all I'm going to say. But I think the main thing is that we fixed Kazimir, because having the equivalent of a brain-dead zombie following us, you know, one that's not controllable by yours truly, is not the best idea. And then we need to get back on the path of these Fomorians, because unfortunately, Jacob wants that tower fixed, and I have no idea how to do it, and the only people that do have any idea just got turned into Fomorians and are now rampaging across the countryside. That's why we're following them.
If it helps or hinders, there's actually a third kind of zombie also on the present. I mean, there's the ones that you can summon. There's Kazimir, and then there's this weird kind of mushroom thingy that Mordecai created that seems to respond to his commands.
Oh yeah, the mushroom thingy. That's more a construct than it is a zombie. But I mean, I suppose considering it's made out of organic material, it passes. Like a flesh golem, but mushroom, fungus.
Yeah.
I'm really not in a place to ponder on such things, as it were. I just want to try and get Kazimir fixed so that we can find these Fomorians and I can start fixing them.
All right. Then unless there's anything else, let's set to that task and find out where the road ahead or behind you leads.
Quite.
All right, so the scene is as you see it. You are still by the big patch of razor vines where this Fey fray took place. You were fighting these blood mushroom things that were growing up from the ground. There are these brain mushrooms that were leaping out of the underbrush. All sorts of things were happening. You put those down. We've had a rather intense moment, and there is a decision to be made that before the evening falls, are one or more of you going to head back to town, or stay here in camp, or continue to make progress in the footsteps of giants?
Well, I can't exactly go anywhere the way I look.
Yes, you are quite mushroomy right now.
Bright could take Jasper to go and get the diamonds. The diamond dust that I need.
Isn't she the one kind of piloting Kazimir right now?
Yes and no. Kazimir can act on his own as long as Peggy Sue is in his ear, as a familiar is, can be given some instructions to carry out without needing super micromanagement. However, Bright can assert herself over Kazimir if the need arises. So now that doesn't mean that Kazimir, you don't feel this presence in your mind. You have this other, you have thoughts. They're your thoughts, but what's acting on your thoughts is a little bit different. Now for mechanics in an out of character session, consideration, you can be, you could be autonomous. You can play into this. This is really up to you. Since this is both the workings of the encounter and the ingenuity of a player, as well as then the perfect storm of adding a fickle god in the mix. So I'm not here to strip you from complete agency. You're just under some unique conditions right now. And I should say to that end, for all of you, at the end of last session, speaking of fickle gods, there were 2 little donations that came towards the end when we couldn't really act on them, and so I'm gonna just translate that because none of you had the opportunity to invoke it. I will carry that over to this session, and unless any other fickle gods step up with further thumbs on the scales, somewhere in the party, one of you can invoke advantage. Or it would be kind of like an inspiration, so turn a disadvantage normal or a normal into an advantage. So one of you can just step up and claim that whenever. There's a floating inspiration in the party that is up for grabs. Whoever would like to use it as a carryover. In fairness to to Custos who donated for it, and in fairness to you all who would have been receiving the blessings of the fickle god.
Fair enough. So, who's going into town to go get diamond dust?
It could be Bright. I guess.
Okay. Are we? Saying
and I mean, if you were worried about it, Investigator, you could go with her.
Very well then.
I'll probably just be setting this up here then.
Yeah, and you can set us up with the Leomans here. So that, we can wait for them to return, I can fix Kazimir, and then we can be on our way.
Well, the shelter only really lasts for 8 hours, so just kind of pop that.
I mean,
one
they're,
in there.
they're flying overland. Like, how far are we away from town?
You've been walking for, well, a decent portion of the day. Like, all the shenanigans in the dockside marketplace, that was in the morning hours, because y'all woke up and Fomorians were trudging around and doing all this. So, a lot of the recent time has been spent on the country road here. Flying
Can I
back...
have a mic check real quick?
Hey!
Hey, there you
Hey!
Woohoo!
Okay, alright, that's good. I'm alive now.
Yeah.
I'll be on video later, potentially, maybe.
Okay.
Did not have time for video while fixing this.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sure that
Did you apply the sacred oils?
No, I just got rid of Chrome and switched to Firefox real quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry then.
Okay, sorry for interrupting.
No. This is a good interruption.
Oh, okay.
If not sacred oils, another fun vocabulary word I love is unguents.
That's a word.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's a word you only
unguents.
hear in fantasy games. That's what makes it a good word.
All right, so yeah, flying back to town. You would arrive back at town as the sun is setting. It would be. I mean, it's not like it's getting towards dusk. So you'd be arriving in the city, around, people are putting out their dinner time specials at restaurants, if any of them are starting to be allowed to open back up after all the recent events. Yeah, that's... Unless someone goes, ooh, shiny, from the back of the griffin flying back and veers off, you'd be arriving... Yes.
So I really wanted to go back to my little gnome-hole, because I really want to pick up my spellbook, and I don't really have a real strong preference if we do that before or after we go to town, but
Okay.
I definitely need to do that on this trip.
So there is a new shiny to consider.
And I would have said that before, except
Yes.
I couldn't say anything.
You were trying to
I was-
figure out the puppetry involved with the...
No, I was getting psychic feedback from Kazimir, and then I couldn't talk for a minute. It was very sad.
Oh, well,
But I'm better
what
now.
was Kazimir thinking then? Share the goods?
He wasn't really thinking anything. That's the whole problem.
Oh. Oh, it's just static. Okay, all right.
You just hear sand blowing in the wind.
Wait, I have that somewhere. I'll put you back in the deserts of Aslandia, and then we'll just put a big Kazimir token in the middle.
We're not going back to the desert.
Boo.
Prefer not to.
I've never been there. It sounds fun.
It is hot.
Oh, well, it's hot in too. But I guess it's a dry heat. It's a different kind of heat. Okay, that's all.
Okay.
Let's go.
Bright wants to mount up on the griffin, and Jacob, are you doing so as well, or
I have to look after them.
okay?
How many of us can it carry? I thought it was just like one plus me.
It's a large creature, so
Very well then, I guess I'm not going anywhere.
I
don't
mean,
know.
Jacob, Bright is like a quarter, or your Warhammer's like a quarter of the weight of Bright.
Yeah.
Yes.
You two can ride together on the griffin.
Okay.
and I will
Fantastic.
give Jasper the commands to listen to Bright's commands verbally.
I'm gonna have to. All right, so you two are taking off, and Bright is gonna be the pilot here.
Mhm.
Yes. And I am very, very cautious about Bright.
Well, if you need to overpower her, I guess you would be in the position to do so.
Potentially. But right now, given how some of the things I've seen. Probably for the best. For all I know, she's going to have this fly up 10,000 feet and have me plummet off.
All right. Well, you two then are going to take off. This is leaving behind Kazimir, Mordecai, and Celine. Kazimir is also on autopilot then. And this is going to leave Mordecai and Celine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut over to Jacob and Bright flying on Jasper in the direction that Bright is indicating, and then to the city, and we'll see what happens there, and then we'll cut back over to Mordecai and Celine by the Razorvine patch, and and Kazimir as well, and see what happens. So I'm actually gonna get this out again here. Is we have we're just gonna have to imagine this is a fantastic griffin, but it has some nice some creaky flying sounds, wind whipping through the hair of everyone involved here, and I might just need to hang on a second. There we go. All the nice mechanical sounds are your Warhammer and stuff jostling around, Jacob. As riding a griffin is a very rough experience. It's not necessarily a smooth ride, and you have a lot of jingles going around. So we have Bright and we have Jacob. You have some time while you're flying. If you're going straight for your treasure trove, Bright, we are...
Well, yeah, a map would be nice.
Yep.
Actually.
You're effectively just going to be flying due south. It'd be easy enough to keep the sun, or what remains of it, off to your side there as you do so. So you're not taking the hypotenuse back to the city, but instead you're flying south, picking up your stuff, and then turning back towards the city.
No, it's not a hypotenuse, it's a griffin.
All right, I keep getting my mythical creatures...
The hypotenuse is the one with the 3 heads, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a lesser Pythagorean. Oh.
Yeah, and a Pythagorean is like a big snake.
That's just a theorem, though. That's just a theorem, Bright. Come on.
It's the Pythagorean is a giant snake that swims through a field of cast beans.
What kind of unholy being creates such things?
Well, then, I mean, if we're creating math snakes, then of course there's the scalenes, and then the isosceles too. You don't want to mess with an isosceles. They have really sharp fangs.
And venom like crazy.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the session, because this sort of stuff does come up at your tabletop at home.
Where we make jokes about math.
Yeah, in case it wasn't nerdy enough before.
My life in a couple dozen words.
Y'all are so cute.
Okay. Uh-oh. Coffee Cat died.
Yeah.
Pull it together.
Again?
Oh, goodness.
Oh boy!
That's it. I'm gonna go get the shovel.
I just drank some coffee, guys. Stop it.
What did you do? Lick the whole thing down?
Oh, I'm so big.
Yeah. Here, we'll make you a little smaller. All right. So this is Jasper. Don't mind that Jasper looks like a quasi-undead draconic flying ship. He was through a battle. He can look a little roughed up. Nothing wrong with that. But yes, we do have Bright. and Jacob here writing. You are in the air. It's just you two. You're soaring over the countryside. Quickly, your party members fade from view behind you, and you have time to either talk or discuss, or otherwise we can fast forward and have you land. It's up to you, but this is your time right now.
I mean, I have things to say, but I don't know if I want to say them. So I'm gonna wait a little while and see if Jacob says anything.
Okay.
Jacob wants to. Well, certainly. Unfortunately, could you trust any information you would get at this particular time? For all he knows, he's already asked the question and got the information on several occasions. Bright is a dangerous creature indeed.
Okay. So you're writing, things are, I don't know if they're awkward, but they're quiet at least.
Oh, they're awkward. I can guarantee you. There's this horrible awkwardness going on.
Bright's soul pink floof is kind of flipping in the. Is flipping
Can you
in
hand
the
me my
breeze,
little book and a pencil?
and is kind of like,
Little
like
black book.
rubbing against your nose and such, Jacob. And as this is happening, and you kind of make that kind of crinkly nose,
It smells like strawberries.
the the tattoo that you wear, especially like right where it's brushing up against your face and your nose, peels away, and you see that there is a small little hand of black
Will you
hair.
mute yourself, please?
There's a small little hand of black hair that reaches down, plucks a feather from Jasper, and in a very like careful manner, from your other tattoo, another little hand, a silky black hair, grasps the flying floof and pins the pink hair so it stops fluffing around, like very gently, just like it's done this before, and then the black hair kind of flows back into your face, and Bright now has a feather kind of pinning her floof.
So the next time Bright turns around, it might take an hour for all I know, but the next time Bright turns around, he's still in this.
So, you seem a little weirded out. Oh look, there's a floof in my floof. Where did you do that? That's so nice. I wouldn't think you would have done that for me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so this is even slightly weirder than I expected, and I expected it to be kind of weird because, I mean, you know, we have our issues that hopefully we.
A few. And I'm finding more and more out by the minute.
Yeah. So, I guess it's a really nice feather. Where did you get it?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, if it just fluttered along in the air and you grabbed it, that's still really nice. So,
He stops when you stop talking.
we passed a couple of birds, and maybe it came from one of them. So, anyway, it's not a big deal, but...
Came from my... He starts gesturing. You're not sure what he's trying to gesture at. He's gesturing towards his face, like...
It came from your... I mean, did you, like, sneeze and it came out? Is that...
No.
what you're... Oh.
Does that happen?
I mean, it could.
I can't...
See, look. Snip! And see, I'll make a minor illusion with a feather. See? Just like that.
I'm not even gonna roll in a spot check for it. Jacob's like... Look, I have no idea idea what is happening, and he seems completely unaware, but as you're facing him, you end up seeing like one of his tattoos seem to peel away into several hairs into maybe a very similar tiny hand that's just currently waving outside of his line of sight. I have no idea what's going on, but things have been rather strange lately.
So, yeah, so, So I know that humans grow facial hair, but usually they don't grow it all at once like that. So,
Like what? I will have you know that I grew my beard to standard military issue. That has been a fine tradition in Green Shield for the past 230 years, ever since Ebenezer von Ebenezer ended up starting it as a point of honor.
yeah, okay. And yeah, it's a very nice beard. But like, if you look like off to the side, there's more hair growing, and it's probably
looks
not
to the side of the
military
griffon.
issue. No, not over there. See, like right there, right there. Yep, up. Yep, right there. There you go, right there. Yeah, you grew a little patch of hair for a minute. It looked kind of like the hair. Remember when we fought that dragon? It kind of looked like the hair. So that's weird. Just in case you were wanting something weird to happen.
You can see that.
Yeah. But I can also the only one that can see the little silver dragons. So it could just be me. But yeah.
Oh! Oh no!
What? We have... Focus on the task, Chief. Focus on the task. I'm trying not to make accusations, right?
Good. Because everyone is getting tired of those.
He kind of looks over. How high up are we again?
As high up as you'd like to be.
I don't know, 200 feet probably. A nice comfortable flying altitude for a griffin.
Very well then. Let's just enjoy the flight. Get to where we need to be. Get this over and done with.
Okay.
Alright. Bright, are you keeping the feather that has been carefully pinned into your floof?
Of course. I don't have a prop for it right now, but there will be one soon.
Alright.
And also, I just wanted to say that I know that it's hard for you to have to try to overlook what happened at the tower, and I just want you to know that I'm gonna try to make it so that you don't have to do what you're planning to do. But I really appreciate what you're trying to do, and I know it's for the greater good, because it's possible that we're the only ones that can do the things that need to happen, and you might have to make that compromise, but I don't want you to have to do it, and I'm going to do everything I can so that you don't have to. And I know that doesn't make sense to you right now, but maybe it will in a day or two.
At this point, right. I am doing everything I can to simply abide by the methodologies of your particular gathering. Doing so with the promise that if the fires are settled and this whole event is brought to heel, that I can, with what leverage I do have in amongst the system of justice, be able to dissuade from putting you permanently behind, well, I can only imagine how easy it might be to escape, but I imagine it must be quite trying. And there are far better specialists for mages of one stripe or another to be imprisoned. wouldn't be the first time. But with you, I have to be sure of hard evidence. Because, much like Mordecai, we can't trust what we can remember. It's untrustworthy at this point.
That's very prescient of you to say.
So, as a point, I am trusting this as far as I can. Which may not be enough in your eyes, and it's too much in mine. I think that's about as fine of a compromise as one can get.
Yeah. No, I also agree that you've done as much as you could, and it might be too much.
He tilts his head to the side. Too much.
Might be. Well, like I said, I don't want you to have to do things that you know are wrong. That's all.
My sister ended up spending quite a bit of time in similar cells as you might find yourself in. And I'd much rather not have to think about one so small in such a predicament. That being said, you, I, the others, no one is above the law. Be you 2 feet or 20.
Don't have anything to say to that.
I thought you would appreciate the candor.
I do. I do. Boy, is this griffin ever gonna get there? No, I think we can stop there on the way back. I think we can go to town first.
Matty, you're muted.
Whoops. Okay, so I'm sorry.
And
So
then
you're
we'll
going
stop
to
there
town
on the way
first.
back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then we'll stop there on the way back.
Then, instead of by the river, I totally meant you're on this flying mount. You could leave it outside the town. You could fly it in. Depends on, I guess, how much attention you want.
I think the plan was that Jacob could go in and get the diamond dust, and then Jasper and I would just wait outside.
Fine, hand me the coin.
Didn't bring the coin. Mordecai, did you bring the coin?
Well,
Sorry, I was waiting on it. I was waiting on it.
Yeah, no, about that.
I would have given them the money before they left.
Yeah.
would you though?
Yes.
Would you though?
Yes.
I could keep tilting my
Yeah.
head for a little bit more.
Yes. I
What
just
would
want
you
to see how
though?
far it goes before the neck pops. Watch a DM accidentally break his own neck in a single gag moment.
No. It's Halloween. It'll just go round and round and round.
All right, so for a moment, for a brief moment, Jacob, you get the coin, and it's apparently Mordecai snuck it into like a piece of the whatever, like a saddlebag or something like that. Is it? You're used to it being on you where you put the wallet, but Mordecai kind of snuck the coin on there, and there was this. We went through all this for nothing, and then it was there.
I'm going to keep a tight grip on it and end up staying out of the trouble areas of town as I go to. It's diamond dust we require, yes?
Diamond
Yes.
dust. 500 gold worth.
100 gold worth.
How much gold worth?
We have
However much
500
Morde-
gold, apparently.
However much Mordecai put in the bag, that's how much you need. It's not my spell, I don't know how it
Well,
works.
yeah. So how much would Mordecai have conveniently snuck into this saddlebag?
Enough for 2 doses because Celine does not plan ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Very well then. When he leaves, he looks bright. I suppose I'm about to find out the sum of your character.
It's better than you give me credit for. We'll be waiting right here for you.
We'll see.
It's 200 GP then.
All right. Yes, 200. All right. So Bright, did you park Jasper outside the town, or are you just flying
Yeah.
right into a public square or something?
No, we're staying outside of
Okay.
town. He can go in through the gate like a normal person.
All right.
I am going to end up heading out into town to end up doing the purchase while keeping an eye out for a very specific umbrella.
All right. So Jacob, as the sun has already dipped beneath the higher buildings here in the city, and so the shadows are long and only lengthening. Things are getting, you're already in dim light here. However, the smells of a couple restaurants are filling the air. It does seem like at least some businesses have loosened up on the emergency kind of public use of goods or services only. There's some people out on the street, though things seem to be orderly enough. You are seeing a further increased presence of patrols, though they do look rather frazzled because this is long shifts, people covering for other people, all kinds of things are going on here, and you are making your way then to the ossuary while keeping an eye open for a familiar looking umbrella. Just out of curiosity, what is your passive perception?
Not high enough. 15.
15 is 15's respectable. Though for right now you do not see a familiar umbrella that is out walking the streets. It's maybe the dim light or just the fact that a lot of people are indoors or laying low. There's also the fact that the ossuary, she said she was going to the docks. You're not by the dock area, nor by the inn in which you were staying, so she could be there or at the precinct.
I will try and end up taking something that'll need up an additional 1 or 2 minutes of closer to. Unfortunately, I cannot delay for much, but I will arrive at the given church, and I am, as I end up, or as wherever I'm picking this stuff up, I believe it is the church. It's at this point, Jacob is going to keep an eye out for unusual behavior and unusual scars, maybe unusual parting of hair. He knows that there is potential that whoever he's about to purchase from is also, well, involved with the reason he's needing to purchase it.
Okay. As you approach the ossuary, there is a sign out front that, while it does welcome, it welcomes all who seek knowledge or comfort in the journey through life. Various services are not being offered. However, if you are in need of emergency food or water, other necessities, someone can be with you. So you are This sign is written in several languages. It's posted outside, and you can even see that there are some people, again, probably laymen, who are members of the faith. They know basically where a lot of the common stuff is, or how to do the proper greetings, hand gestures, and minor prayers. Acolytes and such. You are greeted by one such person who again confirms that while you are welcome here and some basic services can be provided, the church or the ossuary is very strapped right now for greater needs of spiritual or physical healing, or other larger services you may require.
Fantastic. I only end up need to make a quick purchase, and I will be out on my way.
A purchase? What is it that you need? We might be able to spare some incense.
Diamond powder.
Diamond powder? I don't know offhand if... And that's not something that's kept in our common dispensary.
And yet it is required nevertheless. And I'm willing to pay for it.
Please, walk inside and make yourself comfortable. I'll go talk to one of the lesser priests and see if she has access to our more expensive components.
As soon as they turn around, I want to end up just taking a look at the back of their head to see if there's any showing of scarring or anything that might be amiss. Maybe a weird mushroom style pin in the hair or something weird like that.
Sure. You don't notice anything offhand? I'm still kind of in your general awareness as you've been in I'm watching out mode. If you want to make a specific roll, you may, in this instance. But there's... Okay.
Yeah.
With a 12, there's nothing... There's nothing... the person looks kind of frazzled. Again, even the clergy, let alone the guards, seem like they've been doing overtime, even as a volunteer, let alone as someone who's a fully fledged member of this faith. So kind of a little bit of like bedraggled hair, has a bit of a sweat, but there's nothing that shows signs of scarring or other accoutrements.
It would be much more easier if I knew exactly what I was looking for. Unfortunately, I only have a post-mortem.
Yeah, unless you're willing to start cracking open skulls, that's...
I am tempted, it depends, but unfortunately, that would be murder.
Yeah, just a bit.
And I'm more interested in maintaining still conscious and living rather than the alternative.
All right. Are you making yourself comfortable in the in this waiting area that you've been directed towards?
I'm doing some basic snooping, just observing the decorum, just observing the chandeliers, observing whatever it is I can. I'm naturally curious.
Well, you're seeing that the bones of the faithful have been, I'm not going to say what's tasteful to Jacob, but have been arranged in intricate patterns, have been made into sources of art or light, things to reflect upon. There are some common themes that you see here, such as all of the skulls have had their lower jaws removed, which seems to be more than just, well, it's not just a chandelier that has that. That all seems to be present everywhere you look in this very grand and beautiful place, which is very sepulchral. No, wait. There's a sepulcher, but then there's the adjective. Is it sepulchral?
Sepulchral.
Sepulchral. Yeah. That. So
it's polished bone.
It's very beautifully maintained, and it's you are certainly surrounded by death. Oh no! I was wondering what was. Thought maybe you had like a chest burster getting ready to emerge or something. Sepulchral, yes. Thank you. Yeah. It was just a cat, everyone. Don't worry.
She jumps up and one paw in the chair and the other one in the back, and its claws out to climb. It's like, ah! And now you're trying to be adorable.
Yeah. Oh, love me.
No, you're not allowed to escape now. You've already asked.
So there are various artistic scenes, people who've gone before that are painted or carved, presumably important folks to the religion. Though I presume this isn't your faith of choice, if any, Jacob?
No, most certainly not. I understand the necessity of it. That's as far as my relation goes.
You do see that there is an image of a woman who appears to be partially skeletalized. And she seems to be a recurring theme throughout the art in various places as well. This would be a very important figure. Sometimes she has almost an aura of red or blue, grinning. There's some kind of a resonance. Just it's not just an aura as if she's enlightened, which she does seem to carry herself in that way. But there's something intrinsically more magical about her, which would even for a person who this isn't their main faith, this is an intertwining of death and magic in its own unique fashion, and this could very well be
nobody's heard him.
Their matriarch, their matron, their goddess.
So this is Ouija's. Well, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't see the appeal. Still, I continue my observations and my investigation. I'm not touching anything, but I am trying to end up gaining a better understanding of what I'm seeing and anything else that might be pointing into this church being infiltrated more than we've already seen.
All right. Yeah, got it. All right. With a 17, there are some other people who are here. They do seem to be rather bedraggled. Instinct is these are folks who were probably hard up before the disaster, but now that pockets and hearts and temples and houses and such have even more of them have opened up after the disaster, they seem to be rather comfortable here. There's one person over in a corner who does seem to be very fervently praying, though the others are just trying to get comfortable or have a warm place on a chilly spring evening.
I simply listen in on whatever's being prayed or whatever's being said. I don't involve myself with the conversation immediately, as I am currently waiting for a junior priest or priestess.
Yes, and actually she does come over to you. Excuse me, sir, you're the one who was looking for some diamond dust, yes?
That is correct.
Well, I'm able to part with some of it, though the need for it can be great, and so I'm afraid that I can only give you so much. How much were you seeking to purchase from our stores?
To my understanding, the request ends up requiring 200 gold pieces worth. I am willing to end up adding a 20% donation on top of that to see it through.
Very well. I was hesitant to ask as there's a great need for this, and there's other things that we could end up using. If not the extra gold up front, then perhaps other supplies or something that would be of equivalent value in good faith to be given along with the money.
What is it that you're looking for?
Honestly, we're looking for our seniors. they're gone. It's just us. There was an incident, and well, I don't know.
Your
if you heard.
seniors. What are their names? He pulls out a pen.
She'll go over. She'll give you
Okay.
a couple names. I didn't memorize all of them, especially the few guards that ended up apparently accompanying. Oh my gosh, the revealer. Oh,
The revealer has gone missing?
yes, she's the one who is in charge of this ossuary and the region. She makes decisions and conducts the high rituals. Unfortunately, there seems to
Interesting.
have been some
Have they
sort of-
gone missing in the past 24 hours?
Yes. I suppose it's a mercy if you didn't know what happened. Apparently, some sort of magic, maybe because of that confounding tower, they turned into creatures and walked away.
Turned into creatures. How so?
I can't tell you. I wasn't even there. I heard they were
Alone.
large, violet things.
I'm going to roll an insight, because this is not completely meshing with what I've been told. So I am seeing, are they lying? Am I being misdirected?
Ooh, 25 insight. That's a green number, everyone at home. She is stressed. She is trying not to sound impatient. Like it sounds like she's really trying to be civil and not in the sense that you aren't, or that just, oh, I got to deal with this person. She's been through a lot. You've seen this with some witnesses who've gone through high tension situations where they're just emotionally drained. They can't really remember correctly because of just the emotional stress, or even the physical. When you only have so much fight or flight juice in you, even if your body still wants to keep you in fight or flight. And when you run out of juice, you're just trying. So she's trying to work in her, be patient, tenets of the faith, of how to interact with people.
Sister. A moment. Take a breath. I understand this is a trying time for you. And as it may come across, I have run into other members of the faith in my travels. I'm currently traveling with one who has requested the items that I am currently here looking for. And more importantly, and he describes the two corpses that he's responded. Would these two sound familiar in your establishment?
Yeah. Oh. Are you describing them as corpses, or are you describing them as...
I'm just describing their faces.
Okay, all right.
I'm not telling anything about them being dead.
Yeah, if you saw them around, we could certainly use their help. There's been some people that have been good-standing members of the church. They show up to every service, they contribute.
Who have suddenly decided to stand up and leave, or turn into a creature of some sort.
No. It was only those of the cloth that turned into creatures. Though, the one that you were describing is a merchant in town, a grocer of some kind, I believe. It parts with food very generously. I was really hoping that he would be able to bring a delivery today. We're growing a little short, as you can see. There's many. She looks over and she's trying to be very tactful. Many new mouths to feed after all of this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say things like that.
It's quite all right. I understand, and you are trying to do the best you can, and I'm willing to end up assisting in that. That being said, this ends up leading to the investigation. You want this resolved as quickly as possible. You would want to end up having some degree of normalcy, and you end up serving, he chokes a bit, we jazz in true to the faith. I would support such efforts in trying to end up getting this investigation finished. And the sooner I can do so, the sooner we know what's going on, and then the sooner that people can return to their homes. And you may have a few less mouths to feed as they've finally managed to settle into their own homes and hovels.
Would you be willing to, well, if you were willing to part with money, and I'm sure that our benefactor here wouldn't necessarily mind, especially if it was a transaction. But you're an officer of the law, yes? I can see from your.
He nods.
Maybe then you could help us. I could go and get the diamond dust you seek. Maybe if you just go into the grocery store and leave the 20 in a place. You tell me where to tell him and I can find it, and then perhaps you can bring some groceries back. Then we can complete the transaction.
So, for my own understanding, 200 for the 200, and instead of donation, you are asking for that same equivalent in a delivery of food, correct?
Yes, if you were saying 20%, 40 gold is quite generous.
I can be generous when the time is required, and right now you need to help a lot of people, and 20 gold can go a long way.
Very well. One moment. And she goes to shuffle off into an office, leaving you back with everyone who is here. The one who is very fervently praying seems to have stopped and either found peace or conducted whatever he needed to.
More accurately, did he find peace or did he listen in on that conversation?
His praying ceased, and he got up and ended up walking away.
I'm going to try and commit his face to memory. It may be important.
Sure.
All right.
The minor priestess comes back and goes through. She seems to have a big key ring that has a lot of different keys on it, and she's going through. She's mentioning a couple businesses in town. Oh yes, here. For those who are donators or to, in case there's ever a need. We're often given a key should the need arise. And so here, please, if you'll take this, you would be able to access his grocery store. It should be locked. The guards have been doubled, though those poor people have been working so hard. Would that we could do more to refresh them. But here's the key to his grocery. If you would go and leave the offering behind and bring something back for us.
Very well then. And it's at this point he gives her a slight bow in respect and starts to turn. And he wants to say something, but then he chooses against it and starts to end up walking out.
Okay.
And should he arrive, he'll do so.
All right. You walk out. The sun has set. The lamp lights have been lit. It's not late at night. You didn't spend, like 4 or 5 hours in here or anything, but it's enough that the sun has gone down. There's still people on the streets. As far as you've heard or know, there's not been any sort of curfew called, but the guard is on guard. And you can see that on maybe every other street corner, there's at least someone, whether it's been like a deputized, like someone kind of in plain clothes, but has been given sort of like a badge or like a quick symbol of authority. Or you're also finding some people who are going around that are acting as kind of like a neighborhood watch. So they're citizens who they're not wearing anything official, but they're all kind of wearing the same color, and they're all carrying, if needed, like a baton or some sort of a club or a beat stick, and they have some kind of a whistle that they're carrying with them as well. And but they are letting themselves be known. Block watch. If there's anything going on, let us know, and we're here to help out the guards. In fact, the block watch will even come up to you. Is there anything that you need? You're law, but not from around here, are you?
No, I am on loan, so to speak. In the time of crisis, Green Shield wish to end up offering its support, and in doing so, I am in.
Oh,
well,
bless you,
staying
sir.
in my hands.
And bless those from Green Shield. Another person who says, I've been to Green Shield, very beautiful place, nice waterfalls, big trees. The other one says, oh yeah, there's a really good gnomish restaurant there too I've eaten at.
Yes. That being said, yes, there is in fact something you can end up doing for me.
Yes, sir. What can we do?
At this point, I have several. I'm in need of several hands, potentially a cart, if you are capable. There is a matter that needs to be settled, and if it ends up causing a few less people to go hungry, also implies that a few less people will start resorting to theft to do so.
Oh, sure. I'm sure we'd be able to help you carry something. What do you need?
It's going to be a lot of things. Groceries. And when I say groceries, I am referring to the near equivalent of a shop.
Would you make a persuasion at advantage?
I am absolutely terrible at persuasion.
Well,
but...
it's not a matter of success or failure. This is simply, perhaps a randomization of what would be immediately available in this instance. Because you are invoking authority, and there are people who are already trying to work on behalf of authority. So their participation isn't in question here. But with a 13 still, if you need a cart, they look around. Do you have a cart at your place? Yeah, do you use it to use it for your fish business down at the docks? Yeah, I can, but that's blocks away. It might take me some time, I suppose. So the group of like 5 people here, tieflings and humans are mulling about.
Yep. I will be at. He gives the address, and I will take as long as I can, but I have to be swift about this. So, if you can arrive, fantastic. If not, it is not meant as an insult or a comment on a bit of tardiness. Just understand that time is of the essence. So, for those of you who can wish to end up going to grab a cart, I suggest only a handful. We only need 1 or 2 to do so, and the rest is going. It's a slight deviation of watch, but you'll still be on the streets, eyes on the about, and be able to serve your community in more ways than one. You'd make your town proud.
Certainly. All right, and so that was Morton's Market, yes?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it might take a little while, but we'll do our best. Happy to help. And then they all say, all right, well, let's continue around. They're talking about their plan. We're going to continue around the block, but then we'll turn left at blah blah blah, and then so that they're rearranging their patrol. But it seemingly is going to end up with the carton coming back.
Fantastic. It's at this point I end up heading out to Morton's Market again, keeping an eye out for either a familiar umbrella or a familiar face. Now 2 familiar faces. Miss Crumb and the individual who was finishing praying.
Okay. This neighborhood watch group departs, shouting, Block watch! If you have any problems, please come to us and we'll help. Block watch, as they were before. But they seem to take that left where that they discussed, and they at least if you're judging their actions off the first left, they seem to be committed to helping you out here. Then the march towards the market continues. The market will take you. You're not really going to be by the docks. However, if you want to go slightly out of your way, you might be able to stop back at the inn where you were staying with Miss Crumb.
I will do so just for a quick gander. If it's not going to take more than 2 minutes. I'm not wanting to deviate too much, but it will allow the others some time to end up being able to get the wagon and or cart and not feel like I'm sitting there waiting forever.
Okay. So you are going to return to your room. The person who greeted you originally, that was really
Hey,
hoping
Jacob,
for...
it's Bright. Is everything going okay? It's taking a while. You can reply to this message. Okay, bye.
He thinks on how to end up replying to this for a second. Trade required more than gold, it required favor. Here running a few quick errands to to balance the book.
Is that it?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go run my other errand. I'll meet you back at the agreed place whenever we're both there. Okay, bye. You can reply to this message.
Well, I mean, the voice of Bright is tickling your brain.
Very well. I will meet you at the agreed place, and all of a sudden you end up hearing, "Let me out! Let me out! Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!"
Okay. That wasn't what I expected. Okay, Jasper, let's go. We don't want to go. We want to hurry. We don't want to. We had to wait. Now we have to hurry, and then we'll hurry back, and then we'll have to wait again. That's how it goes when you're working with the military.
Yeah, hurry up and wait. Take your time, but hurry up.
Okay, that's all. Jasper and I are gonna run off to the gnome-hole.
All right, sure.
Does she sound more panicked? Like,
Well, that's not part of the message. That's
Yeah.
for me.
oh, okay. Like said to that, it's like, we'll be up there. Does she sound more panicked?
All right, so Bright runs off to the gnome hole, and Jacob, you stop by. You're in here. The person outside. Oh, good to see you. I presume that you would like to stay another evening. I can still offer the same discount to you. Yes, I'd love to fill the room.
I do appreciate it. Unfortunately, I cannot end up staying for long as duty has been calling. I am simply end up checking in on the establishment quickly to end up seeing if the Mrs. has, or Miss Crumb has returned and if she has been faring well.
Oh yes, she did return a little while ago. I didn't get to see her, but from what I understand from my staff, she looked very exquisite. I had them behave, though. We're an upstanding establishment. Bellboys will be bellboys, however, and they'll talk in the break room. I'm
Very
sorry,
well
that's not necessary for you to know. She was...
I appreciate your candor.
Thank you. It's good to... I was just thinking about someone doing so. This is now... Uncannily, this is the second time you've gotten to use this. So, you are, he's a little blustery, he wants to make sure everything's okay because he's really hoping to fill rooms in a city that has a lot of people fled recently due to, giants and a burning tower and crime, and...
Well,
sorry, that chuckle was at chat. So anyway, you go and you go into your room. As apparently you'll. We're just gonna say then if you're not re-upping, you'll have it for the evening. And
I'll re-up.
Okay.
For Miss Crumb. Just I won't be staying.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, he'll still extend your law enforcement officer discount here. And
Okay.
I forget offhand. I know there's other little details I love bringing up, but when it comes to little microtransactions like this, I forgot how much.
I'll
a
drop
couple.
2 gold coins,
Oh.
and that'll be more
Yes,
than
sir.
enough. I'm sure.
Yeah. Certainly, we'll make sure that some supplies are getting low. But I think there's in the back of the storeroom. I think there's something that I could be able to find if you need it.
Go on.
Well, some wine or perhaps a nice meal that's more than just.
She has a very strict diet. However, any food that you would end up doing so, I have current connections and dealings with the Church of Ouijas, and they are trying to end up doing relief effort. Now, I understand you're not a charity, so perhaps the same accommodation would be, if prepaid for, delivered there, given with the gratitude of Investigator Stillwaters.
Go ahead and roll another persuasion at advantage. 18. We'll take that second number.
I play to people's interests.
He's thinking about it. Well, I did just manage to get a steer ready for slaughter in at the local butcher's. If you're paying for it anyway, and perhaps
No
then...
sense the meat going bad.
It hasn't been. That was going to be for dinner tonight. It's still springtime, so the sun is still kind of setting at a it would be like a late dinner, like an 8 or 9 dinner, like a nice, good savory big meal before bed kind of a thing. I don't believe it's been butchered yet because we were intending on only cooking it lightly and serving it almost bloody raw, as is the custom around here. Perhaps then I could just have the butcher take the steer and give it to the church on your behalf, as long as we could say that it was a donation also on our behalf. Would you be fine with that?
By all means. I am not here to end up taking the credit. I am here to get the job done.
Oh, well, then...
And the fact that you're doing so, I would imagine, ends up leading some precedent into them wishing to use any donations in order to aid others, in order to perhaps compensate you for room and board for particular individuals who may need a moment of respite from their current plight.
Well, I mean, the 2 gold would certainly cover the steer. Not too much extra, but that's still a lot of, that is
He drops 2 more gold pieces.
Oh, that's a lot of meat.
As you come by, as you do. For Miss Crumb, her unique requirements, well, if she feels the need to discuss it with you, all I ask is discretion. If she does not end up choosing to end up revealing it, I ask you don't press. Still, I'm going to end up going up to my room for a moment. And you said she went where?
She went to the room as far as I knew and left again, though she wasn't dressed the same.
How was she dressed? And he just takes notes. I'm not going to make you go through the whole thing.
Well, from what the bellboys were saying, she didn't look as elegant as she did. Kind of just streetwear. Looks like it's been kind of mucked up some.
Like it's been out to sea?
I don't know offhand.
It's quite all right. I will go and check on the room. You set the establishment, make sure everything is situated, and I will go about my business. And should Mrs. Crumb return in the next few nights, I am most assured that you will end up taking care of her room and board that has already been paid for.
Yes. Certainly. Thank you for staying, and I hope that everything turns out well for you. We'll make sure to get that steer over to the church.
Of course. Remember, Miss Crumb doesn't care for interruptions during the day. And he starts walking up towards the room.
Okay. As you enter, you see that her dress is set very finely folded. The parasol is, compacted. All of her nice clothing and such is left in a nice pile on the bed, and there is a message written for you. It would be in she's trying to write in Southern Common, not Shadowheart, like Northern Common here. But, there's some different habitual, marks that are made still. The message informs you that she has gone to the docks, she has she had a good day. She did get to see the town and feel normal. However, she needed to go to the docks to talk with her people and find out what is going on and if there's anything that she can discover. And so she dressed in her old sailing uniform, as bedraggled as it is, hopefully to get some attention or sympathy from the guys at the docks, and that she's going to be there. She's going to be there all night with a "Don't worry, I can take care of myself" winky face.
Fair enough. So she'll be back. Jacob Stillwaters does so. He walks over to the counter of wine, make sure that the door is closed, and just grabs what little things he needs and walks out, leaving a goblet filled with that ever wonderful sanguine wine that she prefers.
Okay.
I believe you said D10, right?
I think it was a, I think we were doing a, because you're reopening a wound and you're bleeding yourself out. It was a triple crit on a dagger.
So 3d4.
Yeah.
Very well.
All right. So
Oddly
you
scratched.
get a good cut in. This is definitely going to leave a scar because you keep picking at this thing.
Most certainly.
All right. And you leave a warm goblet behind.
And this is where I go, unless anything interrupts. Fast forward, we're going to end up going to the market.
Okay.
Go to the Marthrin's Merchants, or Marthrin's Market. Grab the pieces needed. I'm willing to, and now I'm not going to cheat the man. I said 40 gold. I will do 50. Even though I know the individual's dead, it's more the next of kin I'm concerned about.
All right. On this scene, remember, we're not by the docks. You're actually in a landlocked portion of the city. This is just convenient because there's a bunch of buildings. Oh, actually, I think I have something that would be almost like almost like what I'm thinking of here. That would be, hey, I'm getting some use out of these old assets here.
Hey!
Oh, ooh. Did this stick around? No.
Sometimes if you gotta scroll all the way to the end, it's better to grab the scene, drag it up to something closer that you're going to be using.
Oh.
You're getting to learn something, Matty.
Hey.
Look, we're not there though.
Yeah.
And also, she doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah. yeah. Peggy Sue looks a lot like Kazimir right now.
Yep. She no longer looks like Princess Sunbutt.
All right. Bye, Bright. There you go. All right. So you are, you have the key to Morton's Market. It doesn't, as you're approaching, I'm going through what I think that would be a methodology to you, making sure you're checking the door, if you want to do something special, or if you have me skip over something, let me know.
To simplify it, grab whatever, preferably perishable items, stuff that needs to be gotten rid of, and because they have plenty of mouths to feed. Non-perishable, he'll try and end up keeping, anything in fancy preserves or what have you. He's looking for bulk. He will pay the exact amount for that would be required. Like I said, he said he'd make a donation of 40. He would end up picking up 50.
Okay.
That gold is, however, not going to be placed in the cash register because he knows full well no one's going to open that. He's instead going to place it. He's going to find a location where it's not something. It's something a merchant would have to go into. Whatever it is, he's seen merchants before. I don't have a good understanding of how merchants operate in that time, but I would imagine Jacob would. So something that they would have to open, but not something most people would think to look into. So in case there are looters, that at least they have, here's 50 gold. What's this doing here? And can reopen shop.
Okay. All right, so you check the place out. Doesn't look like there's been signs of looting. At least nothing more than the door handle felt a little loose, which it could have been that way. Maybe it needed some attention. But the lock still seemed to hold, even if someone was trying to, just test and make sure, like, oh, no, someone left the grocery store front door open. I might want to go in and be a good citizen. And then they, go to close the door and like, well, for my efforts, I could probably use an apple. But you know what? I also have a son at home. I could probably use two, and then blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Yeah.
I've arrested many a fine, good citizens.
I would like you to... So as you're calculating this, as you're doing this, I would like you to make an investigation at advantage. There's no real duress. This is, you're methodical in your thinking. 22, okay. So you're going through and tabulating things. You're finding you're looking at the fresh produce because again you said things that could be perishable first or that could spoil that should go into bellies before they're dumped into compost heaps. And you actually you can appreciate that there is some produce from Green Shield. You can see that as you're looking. There's some crates that it's kind of like that the crates are set out and then they would be displayed in such a way that like on the top of the crate they'd have like a pile of apples or whatever else. Apples wouldn't be this early in spring, but you get what I'm saying. There's some spring onion and some other things. And, these are things that are that you expect. I mean, it might be on a patrol. There's a favorite plant that you just enjoy. There's one wild grown, you pick it up and you munch on it or whatever. Maybe some fennel if you like that taste. And as you're going around doing this, you're like, oh, well, Green Shield, very interesting. You might even be able to get two birds with one stone if you pay for the Green Shield product. Then Green Shield merchants are getting business, and you're paying for the product that has already been delivered here, and everyone wins. And of course, Green Shield has the freshest produce.
Of course, pride and joy.
So you're over in that section. It's like, oh, fresh from Green Shield, and there of all of the like the spring onions and just some other things. There's actually one crate top that is completely empty.
A crate top completely empty.
Yeah, like this one product was like sold out, as opposed to all the other really nice.
If
things.
I look at the sign, would it happen to say mushroom?
Yes, it says special Green Shield Mega Mushrooms. And with your passive perception, Jacob, you hear something in this otherwise should be empty grocery store hit the floor and kind of roll, like out from one of the aisles. There's something that just sort of rolls, like I don't know, what we'll say it's some sort of like a melon. Or a cabbage even. A cabbage rolls out.
He draws hold of his warhammer. Because he has an eerie feeling about this.
And with that, I would like you to roll initiative, please.
God.
Oh no!
A 17. And one moment here.
Why does my brain just go?
Whoops, I'm in the wrong section. There we go.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna miss playing with you guys.
Okay. So you draw your warhammer. There's a cabbage that rolled out in this dark. There's a lantern you could be carrying with you because it is dark. It's not, there's no electricity or anything. But you shine your lantern, and sure enough, there's a cabbage that rolled out from another aisle. You draw your warhammer, and it's your initiative. What are you doing?
Okay. I'm assuming the cabbage doesn't look sentient, and it doesn't look like as though it's a mushroom.
It is
And I
not a
have a
mushroom. As for its sentience, that is to be determined, as this just happened.
Fair enough. No, I'm going to check. I'm going to ready myself as I come around the corner, so I'm prepared to make the dodge action. Trying to look around, trying to spot this thing.
Okay,
I'm
so...
not going to take the dodge action. What I'm going to do... Well, Jacob thinks he's taking the dodge action.
Oh, okay.
I think you know, after our discussions, as far as Jacob is unaware of this.
Yes. Alright, so for... so Jacob wouldn't be aware of what is happening, but can you describe... Jacob feels as if he's, he's just on guard, but is there a cosmetic, like, what happens to Jacob that he's unaware of?
There is. Jacob he's so focused on the moment, or maybe he just refuses to see these black hairs start to crawl out from under his armor. They kind of wisp around. It's almost like he's in a black mist, but when you look, it's actually fine black hair that is kind of floating around, looking about as though it's feeling the air or swatting at the air. He looks about. He's unsure as to what it is that he is looking at, preparing for perhaps one of those weird mushroom cat-like things.
Okay. All right. So this effect goes off. You have this. The hair has come out and is helping you dodge. Wink. And
Better than dodge. Much better than dodge.
to roll to myself so that you can't see. Is that
/GM roll.
Yeah,
slash
/GM
GM
roll.
roll? Whoops. All right. Well, I guess you can see the die, but you don't know the final number. I could have a modifier of 11 billion. You don't know.
To be fair, I keep the stream paused to end up keeping the latency down.
Well, there you go. My modifier's 11 billion. So.
Well, then I fail.
We also
All
don't
right.
see when you roll dice, so.
Well, if you were looking at it showed up on the stream. But it's fine. It's. Look. If I was concerned, if I didn't trust y'all with stuff like this, then I mean, we're not even playing D&D. We're just being spiteful towards each other for a couple hours every Tuesday, which
We
could be
are?
cathartic in some way. But come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't that the whole point of the game?
I mean, this entire party is comprised of nothing but spite.
Is salt.
Yeah, spite and salt. Yeah.
yeah.
Mountains.
Come on, bud.
The halls of
right.
the Mountain King is held up by pillars of salt.
So, as you're on the lookout, you're approaching. You do see that. You have. Oh wait, do you have a shield and a warhammer, or just your warhammer?
Just Warhammer. I need the lamp.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask about the lamp. Then, if you're setting it down and keeping it at an angle or something. All right. All right. So with a warhammer lamp, you go through and there seems to be something that is underneath a table. For mechanical purposes, it would be full cover, but it could be another cabbage or something that rolled underneath one of the tables as you're walking further back into this grocery store. But it does catch your eye because I mean, hey, where there's one cabbage, maybe there's two.
I'm going to kick the table over so it actually serves as a wall to cut off whatever might be under there.
Sure. Okay.
So it's not only revealed, but it can't run away or run under another table. If it tries to run away, it's just going to run smack dab into the bottom of the table.
Sure. Make an athletics.
I'm not too good at those.
18, or if it was an advantage of 29, that's a green number, everyone. For those of you out there.
That's a 9. That's a
yeah.
that's a roll of a 9. I told you.
All right. So Jacob, there is you kick the table and you do it in such a way that it becomes a wall to cut it off in that direction. And you do see a very familiar looking mushroom that was hiding underneath the table. You still have a bonus action and your movement. And yeah, and if there's an item interaction, I guess in some way too. But you still have those parts of your turn if you want to do anything. However, it seems that you found one of these parasitic mushrooms.
It's at this point. So I have 2 reactions, a move. I had 2 reactions and a pulse, or 2 bonus actions and an action. That action is spite.
Okay. Did you use action surge in the combat earlier though?
We've had a. Oh yeah, we did.
It resets on a short rest, so you're all right to do that.
Okay, I was going to ask if action surge resets on a short rest, I'd say your flight on the griffin could have been a short rest. I just see resets on a long rest in your speech bubble though.
Yeah, no, it is a short rest.
Short rest.
And
we took an explicit short rest after the battle anyway.
Yeah.
So.
The only long rest thing that a fighter gets, if I remember correctly, is indomitable.
Okay. That's
what makes taking 2 level dip and fighter so good.
You would have had a short rest then. So, in this case, your action surge.
All right. Then we're going to end up spiting that, and that is my action that's all my actions right now.
All right. So that is 21
so you made
1 points of damage.
That would be 21 points of damage.
Okay.
So it was 1 action, cast, protect, prot, good and evil.
No, it was 1 action, kick the table over. Then action surge, whack whack. Because I got 2 attacks for it. Yeah.
You do still have a bonus action if you want to do something.
Which I have nothing to use it on.
That's fair.
My bonus actions have nothing to do with me personally.
Okay. So with your warhammer, you just and you just splat both lobes of this brain-shaped mushroom, and it just becomes a smear. Like the table is almost like a drop cloth at a Gallagher performance, where just this mushroom just like ups all up against the bottom of this table. I mean, someone was chewing like 100 wads of gum and then just put it underneath the table. Is how this is looking. Is there anything else on your turn?
I am preparing myself to be attacked because I'm pretty sure we have more than 1 in here. But if we don't, I'm keeping an eye out for more than 1. But if that was the only one, then that is concerning.
Okay. Fluffy Sheep, I just saw what you put in chat. Oh, that's great. That's kind of what happened, too. All right, so one of these, your suspicions are confirmed as another one of these mushrooms kind of like leaps out from where it was hiding. And it is going to... 1 second, my cat laid on my keyboard when he was trying to be friendly here, so I have to go back to... things. All right, now with your dodge action, aka protection from evil and good, provided by the silken hair, creatures, and so you're choosing Fey, as that's what these have been classified as. Or I guess it's just everything on the list.
It is everything.
Protection grants several benefits. Disadvantage on attack rolls. Can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed. And if the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed, they have a disadvantage. Okay, got it. All right.
Yep.
So one jumps out and starts making just a really weird chittering noise. And it's not an attack roll, but I do need you to make an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, because I'm just fantastic at those, aren't I?
I don't know until you roll. Ooh. All right. All right, so it makes this really weird noise, and your hair, well, I guess maybe you now notice that the hair kind of like distorts as well. I guess in meta terms, in metagaming terms, this would be kind of like how we have noise-canceling headphones that match like the ambient engine noise of an airplane or background, and it like cancels it out. The hair on you begins to vibrate and cancels out that. You hear the screech for just half a second before it's muted, and nothing seems to happen.
Okay, things are getting weird.
And during this time, you then also hear a ding 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 as the front door opens. Block watch, we're here, investigator with the car. Ah!
And he starts to run for the door.
All right. You hear that same chittering from all the way at the front of the store through the various aisles that you've found yourself in here, as someone ends up screaming. And, well, it's not even just there's the one, and the other's like, what is that thing? And, you start, running up, and so, you can reach there if you want to, you can reach there if you, well, it was called double move, if you, take the dash action. Or you can do some other shenaniganery.
I can do some more chicanery. So as he charges towards, and he's running, and as soon as he steps, it's almost like the ground gave way as he seems to disappear as the hair dives down and it encapsulates him and pulls him down, and it just kind of slithers in between the floorboards as it suddenly reappears, a significant difference closer. So that's run, movement, and bonus action for Misty Step.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that'll put me in close enough to attack.
Yeah, you can see that one of these things sprang out and is chittering in a very fungal, brainy fashion. That's a very specific sound at the block watch that showed up. Well, that sounds like you've heard that before. Ooh. Ooh. All right. You swing twice, with the Warhammer dealing 20 points of bludgeoning damage. And this cat-like fungal brain is still on one quivering leg, just barely making chirping sounds still.
You might want to give it a thwack.
And it is its turn after you, and then it is NPC Rando's turn. It is going to... it's going to turn to you, and it's going to chitter at you, and I need you to make an intelligence saving throw. Woo! 22! Jacob, your mind is... You're in investigator mode here. The second Phoenix Wright game has something like this, where you get like a psyche lock, and you just... All right, so the Darkwolf knows, huh?
Yeah.
So if you just look it up, you'll see the effect that I'm talking about. But Jacob, your brain just... it is in a steel cage as you just repel this thing's just gruesome, even more squiggly sounding noises, because it's really kind of pulped. Yeah, like a sport. And Jacob, with your suggestion here, with some kind of social roll, just I will trust you to make it work. Give me a social roll to like command an otherwise petrified blockwatch person to step up in front of an assaulting fungus to I don't know, do something here.
Very well then.
All right. So with a with a 0, you shout, "Our guys, attack the thing!" And the Blockwatch people here, like they're holding their clubs, and you see like the whistles are falling out of their mouths as just this monster has crept out of the dark, foreboding grocery store, and
Fine, I'll do it myself.
and so yes, we then come back around to you, Jacob.
Wow.
All right. So you go. All right, I'm gonna do it myself, and you swing down, and just unfortunately, some of the juices, you slip a little bit, and then you come back down. If you're losing your momentum anyway, just roll with me on the description here. I'm not making you mechanically prone. As you lose your momentum anyway, you just take your warhammer and almost have you seen Big O? You know how Big O has like the pistons that like rise up, and then when he goes to you slip, whoa, and then you see the opportunity to just sort of like get your warhammer back down this way, and you just elbow drop with the weight of your warhammer down onto this thing, and you almost miss it completely, save for the one part of it that still needed to be dinged, that one functional leg, and your hammer elbow drop, Big J here, lands on it. Go ahead and give me damage from your warhammer. 8. All right, that is 7 more than what I needed. So you just do this hammer elbow drop down on the thing, and it goes, and it splorts everywhere. We're gonna use some casual gnomish in chat. Yes. and
Hold
just
on, I'm gonna pull my warhammer out.
fungal brain goop kind of sprays on the onlooking Blockwatch members. As they're just there with like their mouths agape, and the whistles have fallen out, and they're just all but like barely hanging onto their batons. But you do see they have a wagon.
Fantastic. All right.
Whoa.
That is one of the reasons why I needed to get the food out of here.
Yeah. Let's get the food. Are there any more of those in there?
I have no idea. Keep your batons ready.
Oh. And they look at each other, and
Neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch. Report if anything is out of the ordinary.
to get them whipped into shape and to motivated, unless you have anything mechanical, go ahead and make some other social roll. As they have listened to you despite the circumstances, it would be a negative. They've listened to you, so I would put it at I'd start you at a neutral.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Well, they only report if things are out of the ordinary. That doesn't include fighting the things that are out of the ordinary.
Well, then why did they bring the clubs?
Okay, so with a persuasion
Mostly just for show.
well, with a persuasion of 9, I guess,
Fine.
You first. You go first. You shop at Morton's all the time. You know where the best produce is. Well, that may be, but my wife holds the purse strings in the family, and they're kind of.
Jacob, it just walks to the door with the hammer is hanging by a leather belt on his wrist as he kind of just drops a bunch of produce in the first person's hand. Of course, he's checking to make sure there's no thing hiding inside it, but time to get this show on the road.
Oh, yes, they all scramble to take the produce that you're bringing to the door and meticulously organize it bit by bit in the back of the cart so they don't have to go inside.
Yes.
All right. As you're doing this, you're proceeding with a good pace, but we're going to use your passive perception here as you're you're trying to carry as much as you can. Go ahead and make one more. It's a mini skill check here. Go ahead and make an athletics at advantage here because oh, nice, Whew, all these green numbers.
I'm just
yes.
at this point. Yeah, no. What it would be is that he's just carrying like 8 different crates on the balanced on his arms as he T-poses his way up to the door.
Yeah.
Jacob the Swole.
Yes, Jacob the Swole here.
He takes after his sister.
You, yeah, clearly it runs. In fact, you could even, I don't know if you even want to, but you could arrive with like, you know, mysterious black hair, even holding on to like 2 crates.
He has no idea this is happening.
If you want that to happen, that's. All right, so yeah, you come walking out, and for some reason you're able to like. You have one that people would think that you're almost like having it on your back like a backpack, but you're not wearing any straps of a backpack. But there's a crate that is like attached to your back that is by, well, black hair that's emitted from your body. And so crate, and you turn around and you kind of crane it down in there, and they're just. The group here is already so shocked that no one even comments whether or not they've noticed. They just. Yeah, we're food. Yeah, we got to organize the food. We're doing it for the people. We're Block Watch, right? Yeah, we're the Block Watch. And so they're all really trying to distract themselves with minutia.
It's at this point lock up the shop.
Okay.
Once it's out, report to the guard. Make sure that any fungi from here, Green Shield, is destroyed or put into evidence. Make sure that it is chained down. And I'm pretty sure it's an awkward request, and as soon as he does that, he puts the remains of one of these things in the guard's hand.
Just, yes, sir. He goes to salute and like splishes the brain mushroom against his. We'll do that.
And he carries the other corpse with him, as he ends up heading back to go back to the church.
Okay. And meanwhile, Bright, you've had a very lovely flight.
Yeah.
The moon is the spring moon is looking very nice. The air appears a little cold, but nothing you can't nothing you can't prestidigitate yourself warm.
Of course.
But in this case, what you're doing is very easy. So I'm bouncing off you real quick for somewhat comedic relief into advance time.
Of course.
No, you're fine, Derek. Don't worry about it. It's every good joke needs the setup, and then and so like you've been through all this. Meanwhile, Bright's just a whole new world on the back of a griffin, flying to a moonlit springtime river, fresh water, finding a secret treasure trove of gnomish goodies, and
and she would totally sing that on the way.
Yeah. And so we'll return back to you then, Jacob, as you have made your way back to the ossuary. I don't believe you know the thaumaturgy, or not the prestidigitation cantrip. So unless you're purposely going out of your way to clean yourself up, you do look like you have been to a Gallagher show because you have smashed produce all over you.
Gallagher loved his work. Who's Gallagher? I have no idea. Who answered that?
Yeah. You won't know him for a great long while. So you show up, and once more this priestess, this minor priestess comes up to you. Are you well? Did you have an accident?
He places the corpse of one of these creatures in front of the priestess.
Okay.
How many of the clergy have consumed fungi produce from Green Shield?
I couldn't tell you. We receive food donations from all over Mask of Horns.
And yet, one of the big donators was Mordens.
Yes,
correct?
Mr. Morton, very, very generous. Even we lower in the rankings know about his feast. He often invokes a blessing at our community meals.
Very well done. He ends up writing this down. Now, Mr. Morden. He eventually ends up expressing like what's going to happen. That the tavern, as well as this, along with 50 gold pieces worth of, so more than 20% that he offered. This is not something I can do regularly, but I will do my best to interfere, making sure that everyone is feasted, and it ends up putting a little less of a burden on you. That being said, I require the gold dust. I do not have much more time to end up continuing on, unless there is something very pressing that you would like to tell me right now. Like, what did these creatures that the clergy turn into look like?
Yes, large, violet. Some people say purple, but I think we try to call it violet around here.
Violet?
They had eyes that you just can't miss. Fearful, otherworldly things. And as she's trying to recall, someone runs up in kind of wearing like an acolyte sash, but no real robes. Priestess, and they kind of murmur. Oh, it would seem that some of the food has arrived. A steer?
Yes.
Yes. Have it from the hotel. Have it taken. Take it to the sacrifice room. I'm sure we can make use of it there. And thank you. So she goes on. She's describing what the Fomorians look like, and another person comes up. Priestess. Yes. What is it? I'm trying to. Yeah. Blockwatch. A cart full of. And she looks over at you. Oh. Lady's mercy. Not that I didn't have hope, but you did so much for us. This will surely go a long way. And a lot of the clingers on here who are probably here, for the shelter, but they don't seem like they're devout. They're here for the services, for the meal and for the room and board, which in trying times, they perk up. Oh, and you're just hearing stammering, murmuring from people, and they're going around like, meat, food, fresh vegetables, as everyone's been kind of like dipping into preserves and, things like that, as there's been a kind of a lockdown here over the past couple days. And everyone settle down, and she tells you, thank you so much. I'm going to have to take care of this. I will, she gets one of the lesser functionaries to come over, and she gets the key back from you, by the way, from Morton's.
Yep.
And she hands him another key. Please take him to the dispensary, and there he's, she like writes a note. Thank you, and we'll see that you get what is coming to you.
Of course. He starts to end up walking down, and he starts to think with suspicion. It's never good when somebody assumes something is coming to you.
So the priestess behind you is trying to calm people down who are very hungry for a good fresh meal of, some prime rib and some other tasty treats here. Some nice spring onions from Green Shield of all places. So you are taken to this room, and sure enough, in here are all kinds of there are things that would be beyond your ken, but you imagine that they're various oils and waters and perfumes and components for various rituals. And the person takes a look at the list, and okay, so this yes, and ends up grabbing a container off a shelf here, and whoa! And I need you to make a dex saving throw, Jacob.
Dex saving throw.
Yes. Oof. Okay, so the person goes and grabs this box, and it whoa, and you kind of like dive out for it, and it hits like the corner of the cube, the corner of the cube like falls on your scar, on your fresh like bloodletting, and just instinctively. Ow! As it,
Oh no!
and the diamond dust, the diamond dust falls on the box falls on the floor, and the guy just looks and
no.
Well, here, I'll clean this up for you. Hold on. And he starts like. He holds the box to the ground and he just starts like scooping stuff in. I'm very sorry about this.
Purity is questionable now.
And he ends up closing it. There might be a little bit more in here than you needed. I don't know, but look, she's already under enough stress. Just here, take it, and we'll just call it even, okay? Just don't tell her.
He grabs the box, places the coins, packs it very carefully.
Okay. You may now add to your inventory a box of diamond dust of questionable purity. And
Okay. And at this point, he is going to quickly go to the docks to double check, take one quick look around, and get out of here.
If you're just taking a look around, no boats are on fire. It does sound like some of the boats, people are singing, probably drinking. There's some lewd comments. Certainly, some of the sailors, it's evening time, are being visited by. As we can actually go back to the docks here, some of the sailors are being visited by professionals who work in this district, and there is all manner, you presume if you look for it, you don't have to lift the carpet too high to see petty crime happening anywhere. But there, again, no ships are on fire or sinking, no one is screaming, no one's saying murder, murder.
There's no blood drained corpse into the street.
Yeah, no blood is being drained. If anything, someone is having a very agreeable conversation in an alleyway, because all you just hear is yes, 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 and so someone's being very agreeable. Probably made a good deal, and yeah.
Okay. I don't see Miss Crumb.
No, Miss Crumb is not available in a, I mean, the docks are a large place, but if you're looking for big sources of, you're not finding that.
Fantastic. Okay. I am off to go see Bright.
Okay. So you and Bright, we're going to meet up at a particular location, and I think conveniently enough, it's going to take about 10 or 15 minutes for you to reach Bright, during which time we can all get up and have a snack and a drink, and we'll take a little break, and we'll come back with Jacob and Bright meeting up, and then we're going to zip back to the camp and find out what's been going on there. So everyone, get up. I haven't seen no sheeps here, so go and stretch and enjoy yourselves. We'll be back in 10 or 15 after a little bit of food, drink, a quick trip to powder our noses, and a little bit of refreshing table talk to get back into things. So see y'all soon.
So, Matty, I had a